Hi, and welcome to another episode of Choices History Moment. My name is Dennis, I'm your host, and I thought it might be fun today, very briefly, to talk about the origin of some common phrases in English. It must be very difficult when you learn a new language. You have to learn what are called the idioms. That is, the little phrases that don't have a direct translation. For instance, keep your eye on the ball. It really means watch out and don't get hit with the ball, but we say keep your eye on the ball, not literally. Another favorite of mine is the term Siamese twins. They're meaning a conjoined twin set. There actually were Siamese twins. They were two young men conjoined who were born in Thailand. They were actually Chinese ethnically, but they came to America. They were in the Barnum and Bailey circus. They made a lot of money. They bought a farm down in the South. They married twin sisters. Between them, they had about 20 children and lived a long and full life. But they came down to us as the Siamese twins, which is Siam being the old term for Thailand. Another one is to go berserk. Well, in the days of the Vikings, there were certain special warriors who were called berserkers. Berserkers literally distinguish themselves by wearing bear fur and shirts, so bear shirts, a berserk in Norse, and they would get completely stoned on hallucinogenic mushrooms before they went into battle. And their behavior would be so erratic and crazy that they would frighten away the enemy, and half the time people wouldn't even try to fight them. So a berserker comes from a bear shirt. We also have the expression go postal. And that came about because a few years ago, there were several incidents of postal workers cracking under the stress of their jobs and harming people. And so it became known as going postal if you're acting like a deranged postal worker. Also, we have the term face the music. Now, there are different explanations for this. One old explanation is that if you're an actor, at some point you might have stage fright, but you have to go out on the stage, and when you're on the stage, the orchestra is directly below you in the pit below, so you have to face the music when you go to perform. Other people say, no, that goes back to the Titanic, because as the ship was sinking, the survivors got into their lifeboats and they were gone. But the people that didn't fit in the lifeboats or volunteered to stay back so others could go, stayed on the deck, and the band played music, Nearer My God to Thee, as the ship went down. And so they were facing the music. There's an old Scottish saying, you have to pay the piper. Similar, you have to pay for what you've done. And it has a similar connotation. And finally, my favorite is A-OK. Now, if you go anywhere in the world, there are people who know no English but know the phrase okay. But it got changed in the 1960s to A-OK. And the A-OK was added by NASA because NASA realized that sometimes on radio transmissions, the O sound got dropped and you wouldn't hear a clear OK, you'd hear sort of a K sound. By adding A-OK, it was much clearer on radio transmissions. This is done all the time in the military where they use phonetic alphabets and phonetic numbering systems to make sure that they can be clearly heard. So NASA just adopted that. Instead of OK, it became A-OK. There are lots of these. And when you learn English, you have to study them. And I'm sure if you study foreign languages, you have to learn some of them as well. I like phrases and ideas like this. One of my favorite from Spain is, he who speaks the truth should do so with one foot in the stirrup. In other words, speaking the truth can make you unpopular. You better be prepared to get out of town. Well, that's a little history of idioms and sayings today on the Choices History channel. Be sure to like and subscribe our channel so we can have fun again. I'm your host, Dennis, and I appreciate you. Thank you.